Hello and welcome to this episode of Al's Garage. We're starting a new restoration project. Are you ready? Let's check it out. Alright, here it is, our January 9, 1942 Willys MB Slat Grille. Obviously the name is for the unique grill that these Jeeps came with that represented about 25,000, almost 26,000 of the first Jeeps Willys produced here. And looking at the project, it looks good. You know, you look at it from 20 feet, even 10 feet, and you say, oh, that's not bad. And you look at it up close, and you can see that there's a few things that need to be addressed. At least everything is there. You know, you got your data plates and gauges and everything. The vehicle runs and drives. Owner reached out to our military vehicle club, and I got connected with him and said I would do some work for him on the Jeep, and by some work I mean all the work. So it's going to be quite the project. And you know, if you look at it close, you can see there's a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed, like in the body tub, this little guy here, and this over here. If you look at the floor, you know, the floor looks like it was replaced, so there's obviously been some work done, but it hasn't been necessarily done right. Like, I'm pointing to the seams here, and it was welded on the corner and not on the actual seam underneath the floor. So we'll have to address that and fix that, which is no problem. If you look at the body, you know, it looks decent from afar, but you can see that there's certainly some dents here. There's some pitting, whether it be just, you know, rust that was painted over or sandblasted, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out once we start to uncover it, remove some of the paint and everything. As we look to the other side, you can see that, again, there's some other areas that need to be addressed. You know, again, everything's there, but everything just needs a little bit of work. So if you look at the area right here, obviously these areas by the shovel and axe always rust out on the driver's side. There's been some patchwork here. You can see that the previous person who did the work on this got a little crazy with the seam sealer in the wheel wells, so again, needs to be addressed. And also the rear panel was replaced. You can see that by the red primer that a lot of those reproduction panels normally come with. So again, that wasn't even repainted, so we'll have to take care of that. If we look underneath, you can see that, you know, there's some welds and stuff that need to be taken care of, but it's got all the original driveline parts, so not sure if they're original to the vehicle or not. We'll find that out later. But again, you know, it's complete. It looks good, but there's just a lot of maintenance and mechanical stuff that will need to be addressed. I drove this around and immediately detected there's some wear in some key areas. Specifically, you know, we'll single out the bell crank here that's got some wear. So all this stuff is just going to have to be gone through and addressed, which is no problem. As I go through this, one of the nice things about this specific restoration, which is part of why I took this on, is because I have my Jeep, which is a January 15th 42. This is a January 9, 1942, and so I'm going to use mine, which has all of its original sheet metal, as sort of a guide. Where are some of the welds? What is some of the dimensions that I need to adhere to? I'll be able to use mine as a guide when putting some stuff together, taking it apart, making sure that everything is done as correct as it possibly can. And so that'll be a big help as I try to do this as correct as possible. Alright, moving to the engine, we can see that this has the L134 Go Devil engine, which is originally what was in all these World War II Jeeps, the Ford GPW and Willys MBs. This has the Carter WO equipped with it, which is nice, and everything else seems to be there, you know, so we're not going to be hunting for too many parts. But I do also see that this has a early pancake air cleaner, which is what originally came in these slat grills. So that's nice that it at least has a part like that. And if we look at the radiator, originally the radiator for the slat grill had a little bit different setup at the top. You know, we'll be fine with that. The owner has this Willard 12 volt reproduction battery, which we're going to go with. He did one or two little things before I got it here, and overall the engine runs. It runs very nice, and so we're gonna hopefully not have too much to do when it comes to the engine. As we close the hood, we can see that it does have some unevenness. Not sure how well the camera's picking that up here, but you can see that there's a lot of little stuff here on both sides, and then, you know, even right there on the front lip. So a lot of little things that we're going to have to address as we dive into this, take it apart, and correct some of the items. So let me take a moment and get it running for you. One last thing I want to show you, this Willys MB is really unique in that it has what's called a White House conversion, which was a 12 volt conversion. They did this, and part of the process doing it was to put a battery box there on the cowl, just like you'd see in post-war M38, and that housed the second 6 volt battery. So it's a nice clean modification that they made on those, and that's part of the reason that this particular Jeep was so attractive to the owner. Is not only is it a slat grill, but it's a rare variant among slat grills. And so we're going to, as we restore the tub, do everything we can to keep the tub and the cowl as it is, so that we can showcase that unique modification that these underwent. But yeah, as I've said before, everything is there. We'll just need to just go through it, give it some love, and make it look beautiful. All right, that's it. That's our new 1942 Willys MB restoration project. Really can't wait to show you this. One thing I didn't mention is the configuration of this will be per U.S. Marine Corps spec for the Pacific Theater for fall 1942 to spring 1943. Essentially, what we're going for is the look for a Jeep just after the United States landed on Guadalcanal. So the owner is very particular about the history piece of this and wants to see it brought to life in that manner. So what we're going to do is configure it as such where it's going to be painted the original color that these came off the factory line with. Then we're going to respray it in the United States Marine color, and then we're going to hold off on spraying things like the engine bay and underneath and things like that. So when you see it, it'll actually look like a Jeep from that era during that specific time. So the footage that you saw, as a matter of fact, was taken a while ago, and I'm just now kind of putting this all together. So I can't wait to show it to you. It's not done yet, but we're getting close, and it's going to look really nice when it's done. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.